It is one of the largest jury awards in U.S. history. A pharmaceutical giant ordered to pay more than $2.5 billion in a lawsuit over the weed killer Roundup.
It's changed our lives forever.
Told that she had died.
A California couple say they got cancer after using the product for decades. They won the judgment. The defeat is also Bayer's third Roundup court loss. It's expected more lawsuits will come. The lawyer for the couple saying the company covered up the health risks of the herbicide for decades, and there was never any interest to find out if Roundup was safe. Let's go to David Levine. He's a professor of law at the University of California, Hastings College. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So Bayer bought Monsanto, and it was Monsanto that had this product under its jurisdiction for many, many years. They've never accepted, I guess, the research that the herbicide is dangerous?
Well, most of the research actually goes the other way. Many agencies, not just the Environmental Protection Agency, but in Europe and in Australia and other places, have consistently found Roundup to be safe when used as directed. There has been some research in the other direction, and that's why these lawsuits started. But until fairly recently, meaning the last few years, every agency that had looked at the issue had found Roundup to be safe when used as directed.
All right. So then what do you think changed minds in this case?
Well, what changed minds, number one, is that an arm of the World Health Organization did change its views on this, and the plaintiffs had their experts say that the Roundup can cause their particular cancer, which is non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and they had experts to say that the product did help cause their cancer. It's a substantial factor is the test. You don't have to prove as if it was a criminal case beyond a reasonable doubt, but simply by a preponderance of the evidence, did the jury think that Roundup was a, quote, substantial factor in their unfortunately getting this.
What do you make of the amount, $2.5 billion, well ahead of the other judgments that have come down in this case, in these circumstances?
Very large number. It was based on the plaintiff's lawyer inviting the jury to think about the profitability of Roundup for Monsanto and Bayer, and the jury went with that number, in fact, doubled it. However, we can be quite confident that because of the United States Supreme Court's quite clear rules about this, that figure is going to come way down in the post-trial motions. So there's no chance whatsoever that Bayer is going to have to write a check in this case in excess of $2 billion.
And sorry, why do you seem so sure that it'll be rounded down to such a great extent?
Because the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court rules on this are so clear. And if we take as an example the first trial against Monsanto, which was in the fall in San Francisco, and there the jury came in at nearly $300 million, and the trial judge brought that number down to less than 80 million US dollars, and even that number is on appeal. So I expect that something of the same will happen in this case.
There are 13,000 plus other lawsuits that Bayer is now facing connected to Roundup?
Well, claims. Not necessarily lawsuits yet, but claims. But certainly there are a large number of lawsuits that have been put on file. Quite a few of them happen to be in the federal court in San Francisco, where the first of that group went to trial a few months ago. And again, Monsanto lost. That was the second trial in the string of three. So Monsanto is potentially looking at an enormous liability. What I think is going to happen is that if anything like these verdicts are upheld on appeal, then at some point Monsanto will create a settlement regime with the plaintiffs and will work out claims with them.
Got it. All right, David Levine, I will leave it there. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate that, sir.
Thank you for having me.